Bingo, bongo, bango. The boys are back. We're wrapping up NCAA basketball here.
Last one of the year.
Last
of
one
the season,
of the season. Yeah, wait. Not the year, yeah. But the season. Season has come to an end.
That's right.
I will say I watched the one shining moment again this morning.
Nice.
And it still just gives me kind of chills. I think it's cool. It's crazy. But it's the same thing every year. But it still gives me chills. And then it's over.
Yeah, there wasn't that many crazy moments.
No.
I don't think this year.
But it's just
Which
the
makes
song.
it hard.
The song, it's like that song. It's just the feels. And then you realize it's all over.
Yep. Until next year.
Until next season, yeah.
All right. Well, let's give a little recap of the championship game.
Yeah. UConn took care of business. I think the score, in the first half,
First half was
2-point
good.
game.
Second half, not as good.
Yeah. And I think it was very interesting. I think even the announcers were saying when they came back out in the second half, or it was a 6-point game.
Yeah, a half.
But when they came back out at halftime, I think UConn made like one or two straight buckets, and they were like, this is when the game gets decided because the floodgates are open and you better stop them, and Purdue just couldn't score.
Yeah.
Granted, Purdue was one of the best three-point shooting teams in the country, and I think they made 1 3.
Yeah, they were averaging, I believe it was like 8 point something.
Yeah, I think it was like 8
in the tournament.
Yeah.
And they made one the whole game?
Won the whole game, and then it was like, it made sense after the game, and then Dan Hurley was talking. He was like, we were going to let Zach Edey score 40 points, but no one else was going to score 15.
Yeah.
20, so it made sense.
You want to know what that reminded me of?
What did that remind you of?
In high school, that was our
Tyus Jones plan?
Yeah, that was the exact strategy when we played Tyus Jones.
Yeah, let him get his, and then...
we let him have... Not let him, but he scored 40 to 45, so a little bit higher than what Zach Edey had of 30 or 35. How many did he end with?
37.
So he ended with 37.
Yeah.
All right, so honestly, it was kind of...
Similar.
Yeah, exactly similar.
Right.
Tyus had 40 to 45, but if we kept the rest of the guys to 20 to 30, then we'd just score more than that and win.
Yeah, the next guy was Braden Smith at 12.
It worked every single time.
They only had 5 guys that scored. Fletcher Lawyer had 0.
Yeah,
Jones had 5.
Fletcher Lawyer, I don't mean to come on too strong on him, but he was awful.
Yeah, but Mason Gillis played 24
this
minutes
bro
and had
looked
0.
like barely a D1 player last night. And I get it. There's a lot of pressure, national championship, but he did not look good at all. No. He was really bad.
Yeah. It was just hard. I think they just locked up everyone else and were like, go for it.
Yeah, but there were times when he was attacking the basket and he could have made a move to make the shot easier.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked like he didn't know how to finish at the basket.
Yeah.
It was bad. He did not look good.
Yeah. Here's the reality. The reality was Zach Edey did look good, but it was also in that first half, it was okay, this is going to be close because they got some fouls on the big guys, especially on that backup big guy. I forgot his name. What's his last name? Johnson.
Samson.
Yeah. He had 5 fouls. He played 5 total minutes. He had 2 alley-oops, though, that were fantastic.
Yeah, he did.
But I'm just saying it was one of those things you could tell. It was all right, Zach Edey's going to throw his body around and you hook shot, fine. But, yeah, no one else could score. Even Braden Smith had a few mid-range jumpers that it was that probably should go in. You're an open jump shot. What do you say? What do you always say when we were watching? You're a D1 athlete. You shouldn't make that shot. It's a little different in the championship, I get it, but still, those shots were going in throughout the year.
I'll give him a pass because he was literally doing everything for their team. He wasn't scoring, but he was facilitating everything. He was guarding on the perimeter against UConn, who has 5 guys that are very skilled offensively.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's that takes a lot of energy. He really didn't sit out at all. Mm-hmm. And so I'm sure that he was just so tired that, I don't know, it just kind of throws you off just a little bit, and that's all you need to be thrown off to miss a couple mid-range jump shots that you might normally make.
Yeah. Well, I think it's that same thing where people are you work so hard on the defensive end that when it comes to the offensive end in the second half, like you said, you're just tired.
It wasn't even he was working super. I mean, he was working hard, but it wasn't like he was the main defensive stopper. The way that UConn just runs the offense, everybody has to be engaged, and so he's playing enough defense where it affects offense, and then they're picking him up full court. They were making him do all the facilitating, and like that just gets to you.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta exuberate. Is that the word? Exuberate a lot of energy on the defensive end or offensive end or defensive end.
Exuberate. Huh?
Is that the right word? I don't know if that.
What are we trying to just throw out as big
words
as we
possible?
can?
But I will say this: what's crazy about UConn,
say it,
is literally like you said, all five, and even that Diarra guy off the bench. When their offense is literally the most like. I mean, if you're really basketball savvy, is the most beautiful thing to watch. Like no one stops moving the entire time. It's almost like it was like primetime Warriors with Steph Curry. Like this Spencer kid literally never stopped moving.
Cam Spencer,
so good.
Played well.
Always has played well basically all year. And then when you have all these ball players. And he was
talking that talk.
Oh, yeah. As he should be.
Oh, boy.
I mean, as he should be. I think, it was a good game. I think this just kind of proved, like, literally it was UConn. Purdue sure was probably the second best team, I would say. They were very good. But, like, there was a huge gap between 1 and 2. It would have been very rare to see UConn lose. So, I mean, they shot 27.3% from 3. And they still won by 15.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Did you see the highlight?
Which highlight?
The dunk.
Oh, by Purdue's guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy. Who was that guy? That Heidi guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know. And
you know where he's from.
Is he from Minnesota?
He's from Wayzata.
Oh, dang. He also, the next possession, literally let a ball go right through his hands for backcourt violation. But
it was a little high.
Yeah, it was very hard. And Zach Edey was whatever. But, so yeah, it'll be very interesting. I mean, it's Dan Hurley. Good for you. So is UConn a blue blood?
You probably have to
now,
include them. Yeah, I remember we had that exact same conversation last.
Didn't we have it last year after they won?
Yes.
Yeah.
We did, and we said at least I said no.
But now it's a yes. It has to.
You kind of have to. I mean, they've won back to back, which has only happened, I believe, 4 times.
Yep. 2007 was the last, right, with the Gators.
Yep. And it's just like, I mean, they keep winning. They've won, 4 in the last 12 years or something?
Yeah, I think it was 11 or 12 years. It was some crazy stat.
Yeah, so I mean, they've got enough championships where at this point you have to.
Consider it. They're for sure in the consideration, but yeah.
No, last year they were in consideration. I think this year they've gone over the edge to now being one.
It? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, good for them. They're obviously probably the favorite to win it next year too.
At least they do have a shade of blue in their colors, so that it still kind of counts.
Is that like one of the?
No,
it's just what all the teams have.
I mean, Duke,
North Carolina,
UCLA,
Kansas.
Those are the original.
And now you have UConn.
UConn, yeah.
Kentucky is that?
Oh, and Kentucky. Yeah. Did we say Kentucky?
No, we said Kansas.
Kansas, Kentucky, UCLA,
Duke, North Carolina, and now UConn.
North Carolina.
Yep.
And UConn.
Yep. There it is. All with that's the realm. So the Gophers will never be blue blood, unfortunately. We don't have blue. No, we don't have blue. We don't have blue.
1, they have no chance because that will never happen. And 2,
we don't have blue.
We'd have to change our school colors.
Yeah, we should just maybe that's the next topic is if we want to become a blue blood, we have to change the colors. Because as of right now, there's 0 chance.
That's right.
So
I like that train of thought.
Yeah, I don't know how that will go over with the school, but we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll wait and see.
I mean,
what are your thoughts about the whole season in general? I think this was probably one of the years where I think we've talked about this in previous episodes, like the number 1 seed, there's not a lot of weeks the number 1 seed stayed the number 1 seed. Number 1 ranked.
Yeah. It
felt like every week the number 1 was losing.
There was a lot of mix and match up and down. Like teams were slotting in and out all over the place.
Yep.
But as the season wore on, there was a few teams that kind of separated themselves from the pack, and then like there was a pretty big gap between those top 3 teams and everybody else like leading up into the postseason. Like they didn't even have to win any games in their conference tournament, and they were still going to be a number 1 seed.
Right.
So that tells you how big of a gap there was.
Yeah.
Between those 3 and everybody else. But I think that like you could have expected there to be like some shifting around like in the first couple rounds of the tournament, just because there was so much change with the different teams. Like some teams went on a 10 game winning streak at the beginning of the year. Some teams went on a 10 game winning streak in the middle of the year. And so like a number of teams had that in them, but then so I would have expected a little bit more of just like those teams figuring it out down the stretch. But
yeah, it definitely was a unique year. I think it's one of those things. I think that's what kind of the portal has quote unquote helped with, is like it's made more teams better. Like there hasn't been as many dominant teams. I know UConn was dominant, but like a lot of these other teams, most teams have. I mean, you look at the NCAA tournament, I think every single team in the NCAA tournament had one guy who was like, okay, this guy's pretty freaking good. At least one. Obviously, the better teams had more than one, but like I don't think there was any teams that, at least in the top 5 or 6, if you were ranked in the top 5 or 6, like that. But I think it's
like
good.
Top 5 or 6 seeds?
Seeds, yeah. So 6 down. I think every single team, it was like, okay, they have a good player who's potentially NBA or very good, all conference or something.
Yeah, it's hard because, I mean, what is it? Is it this year or next year that everybody that has, that got the extra year for COVID is done?
I think it's next year's the last possible year to use a COVID year.
Okay.
So, like, after next year,
it'll be back to normal.
Just redshirt years. Yep, just red shirts.
Okay.
I think there was also talks that...
I think that'll be good.
No, I think that will be good. I think there was also talks that, like, there's talks that once you hit the transfer portal, you can play right away. I thought I saw a tweet about that. I thought someone sent a tweet out that said they're potentially changing. Like, you can train once you hit the transfer portal, like, you can start playing that next year no matter what, as many times as you want to transfer. But I think that would be horrible.
So I feel like that you can already do that.
Well, don't you? I think you have to have a reason, right?
No.
Oh, you can just transfer. I thought you could only transfer once, and then the second time you transferred, you had to either sit out or wait. Had to have a reason. Or is that not accurate?
Let's find whatever reason under the sun that you want to play.
I guess that's true. Yeah, there's a lot of.
But
we'll see.
It as we go, kind of. I mean, it was funny because apparently Dan Hurley's phone didn't even work.
Broke it.
Yeah, it was broken on Saturday. So, I mean, he was locked in for the game on Monday.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like he's the guy he's one of the best coaches, obviously, but he's a psycho.
Do you think that he's the best coach in the country currently?
Currently.
Or if you don't, who do you think is the best?
I'm going to say Bill Self is still the best coach in the country.
Okay.
Kansas. I think there's potentially an argument with, I mean, obviously, what have you done for me lately? But I do think if you're looking at throughout their whole time, I just think Dan Hurley's still obviously a lot younger. Like a lot less years. Bill Self has been doing it forever.
I mean, he's won 2 national championships in a row.
Right. So that's why I think it's definitely a discussion. But I would say right now, I still think Bill Self is the best coach. Don't get me wrong, if Dan Hurley goes back to back to back.
You think Dan Hurley's number 2?
Yeah, I think Dan Hurley's definitely in the top 3. I couldn't think of another coach because I don't think Calipari. I think he's better than Calipari. I think he's.
What about Izzo?
I don't know. Izzo's been doing it for so long too. I think it would probably go Izzo and then Hurley. So I would say Hurley's 3.
Okay, so Izzo's 2.
Izzo's 2.
Okay.
Damn, I forgot about Izzo because.
What about?
That's kind of it.
What about Shaka Smart?
No. That was a bad question. You
I
started laughing as you said it.
Yeah. What about Bruce Pearl?
I mean, I Rick Barnes is up there too. Now that I think about it.
Really?
No, I'm still taking.
I wouldn't put Rick Barnes up top 3.
No, I don't think Bruce Pearl is either.
No.
No.
I was just trying to think of other guys. What about Scott Drew, Baylor guy?
No, I'm still taking Hurley.
What about Kelvin Sampson?
I do love Calvin Sampson.
I know.
I just can't. Sorry.
Okay, so those
Not
3.
yet. Not yet. So those 3 are my 3. Those guys are obviously probably within 5. I mean, those guys are obviously elite coaches, but not better than Hurley.
Are you talking like overall, or are you talking like right now? You would take Bill Self and Tom Izzo.
I would say overall. Right now, I would take Hurley just because he's young. I don't know how many more years Izzo's gonna be doing this thing.
Right.
So
it can't be a lot.
No, and so I would say, I mean, I think Bill Self will be for a while, but I'm saying if I had, I would say Hurley over Izzo. I would actually probably take Hurley over all of them.
Yeah.
But I just think overall,
right.
I still think top 3.
Yeah, but we're talking right now.
Yeah.
He would be your number 1 choice.
I would
for
take him. Yeah.
Coach.
Yep.
Of
my squad. If I had created a squad, he would be my coach.
Okay. I think that's probably a lot of people's answers right now.
Yeah. He also did already come out and say that
he's staying there.
Yeah, he's staying. So.
I mean, he didn't realize that the position was open. I don't think.
No, because his phone broke.
Yeah.
But I mean.
But that leads us into our next category.
Yeah.
Kentucky Open. John Calipari hitting the road down to Arkansas.
Yeah, that was interesting when I saw that. But I think when he came out and started talking about it, I think it kind of makes sense. I think Kentucky the last 4 years in the NCAA tournament lost in the round of 64.
Years, isn't it?
It might have been 5, but I think it's lost in 64. So lost the first round. Mm-hmm. The year before lost in the second round. The year before lost in the first round. And then the year before didn't make the tournament. Yeah. So I do think he had a great stint, and he's obviously a very good coach, but I think it was just one of those things that you need a new voice. And I think he realized it too, and I bet you Arkansas paid him a decent chunk of change to come over there.
I thought that he was... I heard that it's going to be performance-based.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that would actually be better.
So he'll actually make less than he would at Kentucky.
Got it. Do you think he was out, like Kentucky kind of was like, hey...
No, the AD came out and said he's coming back next year. Before it came out that he's not.
Interesting.
On his own volition, apparently.
Interesting.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, interesting.
Apparently he's gonna make less.
5 years, 7.5 to 8 million. That's what this says.
I don't think it's official yet.
Okay.
It's 5 years, but. I mean, the part that is enticing for him is that there's 2 big brands down in Arkansas that will just give him as much money as he needs.
His NIL is going to be excess of $5 million per year.
Yeah.
That's crazy. A basketball team has what, 10 guys?
No, 12. 12.
Decent.
I mean, that's because the...
boosters.
Yeah, the Tyson Foods and Walmart. Apparently they like sports, so they're like, "Hey, come to Arkansas. Yeah, we'll get you players."
Yeah, easy to reload when that happens.
It's easier. Do you think that he'll change his strategy of roster creation and go a little bit more transfer portal and not only high-end freshmen from high school?
I think there will be a little bit more. I don't know how much. I mean, you have to imagine Kentucky had a decent amount of NIL basketball, right?
I mean, they had the number 1 recruiting class last year.
Yeah, but that's for high school kids, right? So you're saying high school kids?
I'm saying, do you think he's going to change how he creates his roster? Because up until this point, he's been very focused on bringing in the best high school athletes, the best high school players, and having them be kind of the main part of his team. The guys that play the most, the most talented, the guys that they're counting on. Do you think that he's going to create his roster similarly to how he has in the past, or do you think he's going to change?
I think he's going to change. I think he's going to use more of the transfer portal. I think there would be a handful of guys that might follow him to Arkansas from Kentucky, but I think he will change his ways to do more transfer portal and use the NIL like that.
He has to change it.
Right.
I mean,
look at the last amount of years. That's why I feel like come tournament time they haven't been as successful. Is because they don't have experience.
Right. Freshmen can make money in NIL.
No, 100%. I'm saying though, like with him, I think it's like one of those things where it's like, hey, we're bringing you here, and there was like there was talks of like, hey, we want you to kind of use this money to get guys from the portal, not just pay these freshman kids. Because I think what we've seen is there was 3 transfers on Kentucky or Connecticut, I mean, but like you said, the last 4 years or 5 years, whatever it's been, his success in coaching wise with just bringing in all these top tier freshmen hasn't worked.
I think it's hard to compare Kentucky to UConn.
No, not comparing that. I'm just saying in general, like just if you look at Kentucky, like the last 4, like you have to use the transfer portal now. I feel like you can't just bank on freshmen.
Correct. Yes, I agree with that.
That's my opinion. I think I've said this before. I think more teams will recruit from the transfer portal than recruit high school kids.
Yes, that's going to happen.
Yeah, has to. Mm-hmm. Especially now if you can play the first year after. Heck yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, definitely. You've been doing really well.
I haven't said nothing. With what?
With not sorry.
Yeah, I haven't said nothing.
Good job.
Yeah. Here's a question for you, quick. I want to get your opinion. I know there's different opinions that were said. This is now flipping a switch.
Are we still staying on Kentucky? Because I would like to.
Oh, keep going. Let's say your last thing about Kentucky.
Okay. I mean, we're recording this on Tuesday. No person has been announced as the new coach.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think is going to be the new coach?
Well, there's been a lot of, I guess I've seen
or who
tweets or rumors.
Would be the most likely. Well, let's start with who do you think would be the best person?
I think a guy like Scott Drew would be very good. I don't know how much he's getting. Like if Baylor's just doesn't.
He just signed a new extension.
Yeah, so probably not him. I think it would be very interesting. There's been talks about Nate Oates.
He already said that he's not leaving Alabama.
Do you think Billy Donovan coming back to college? That was talks.
Yep, I think that would be a possibility.
I think Billy Donovan's one. I think, wasn't there, I thought I saw Rick Pitino's name fly around, but I don't know why you'd do that.
Possibility. He said that, apparently he has said that it's his biggest regret for leaving Kentucky.
Really?
Yeah.
You think he's just saying that so they kind of welcome him back?
I don't know.
It'd be interesting. I think Billy Donovan would be very interesting. Oh, yeah. He's not young. I think Billy Donovan would be very interesting going back to college where he had success and obviously going to a blue blood program and being able to do it that way. I just think it's hard. It's different when you coach NBA players. It's hard to coach those guys. In college,
it's more of a...
There's more strategy in college.
It's more of a partnership in the NBA.
100%. And I think in college you kind of have the more say. So I think Billy Donovan would be very interesting.
Okay.
So that would be my take.
That's my guy. That's who you think that they should go with?
Yeah, I think so. I think it'd be smart. He's shown success in the college game, and NBA hasn't really shown a ton. But
do you have any other potential options?
I'm trying to think of other guys. Because Musselman's at USC now, so that job's also open.
What?
The Arkansas job, right?
Calipari just took it.
Oh, yeah, me and Calipari. Who am I thinking of? No, I can't really think of anyone else. I think if the hardest part is like you look at like a guy like the Scott Drew, I think he's a great coach, but they've kind of been running the same system the whole time too. But I don't know. I would say Billy Donovan's up there. Who do you have in mind?
My pick is Buzz Williams.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that would be a change up. He's at Texas A&M.
Texas A&M?
Yep.
I think Buzz Williams is a great guy. Sweats a lot. Great guy.
I think that would be a good hire. It would change the whole dynamic of the program.
Mm-hmm.
He's been successful. He hasn't done crazy things, but they've made the tournament the last 2 years. It would be a step up for him, so I think that he would want the job, and it would be something different. He's established. It's not like somebody that has not done anything. So yeah. I think I think Buzz Williams could be an option. Also, what do you think about this? Shaka Smart.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Shaka guy. But I do think you have more potential. I don't know about Marquette. I mean, what's his name? The point guard already came back. He's announcing he's coming back.
Did he?
Yeah, he said he's coming back for his, I think it's his senior year now.
Gotcha.
So he already has said he's coming back, so that's kind of enticing to stay at Marquette. But
some of the other options or people that had been mentioned were at least, okay, so.
This is they offered Scott Drew. Did Scott Drew decline this?
Well, they're just starting today.
Oh.
Was what they are starting to do. But I thought that it was kind of odd that, I mean, there's people that put out like, these are the people that should be in consideration for the Arkansas job, right? These are the people that should be in consideration for the Kentucky job.
Mm-hmm.
To me, okay, so they put out this list of 5 people, right?
Yeah.
And for the Arkansas job. And then John Calipari takes that job, right?
He wasn't on that list, I'm assuming?
He was not on the list, no.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it make sense for some of the people for the Arkansas job to be in consideration for the Kentucky job?
Yeah, you'd think it would be just one big carousel where it's like, you didn't get the Kentucky, so move on to Arkansas.
I understand you want maybe a little bit more of an established guy, but like...
But I think Arkansas is a fine program. You're playing in the SEC.
Yeah, you're still in the SEC.
Basically,
Both.
I mean, Arkansas has shown some success.
But Kentucky's a whole nother level.
100%. But I will agree with you where I'm saying, like, it's interesting where you're like, okay, if this is your list of people and you're Arkansas, or here's the list of people, you would think that, okay, hey, since this Calipari guy basically wasn't on the list and took it, why not just take that list and shoot it over to Kentucky?
With the addition of a few other people.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see what it costs to have somebody come over or what somebody would take. I don't know. I mean, here's the thing, is like Kentucky really hasn't been good the last 4 years.
Yeah, but it's still Kentucky.
I know, but that's what's crazy. They haven't been good and they're still Kentucky. So it'll be a very sought after job, but a guy who's leaving like a Scott Drew, who's leaving a Baylor program who just won the national championship a few years ago, like that's interesting to me.
Is it?
It is very interesting to me because I think Baylor's very good. I think Baylor's better than Kentucky. But
Yeah,
history.
But that was all Scott Drew's doing.
What do you mean? That's what I'm saying.
What? They were not a very good program until he got there.
That's what I'm saying, but he's obviously getting paid a decent amount at Baylor. Would you rather go start something new at Kentucky?
You're not starting something new. They have plenty of history.
No.
It's Kentucky.
Yeah, but most of the guys are probably going to leave. Like, you're going to basically start over in the sense of you're going to have to get new guys.
So?
There's already been 2. That's what I'm saying. Start over. I'm not talking about the history. The history will always be there. Who cares who the coaches?
Bring the guys from Baylor.
Yeah, I guess. So basically, you're leaving the best conference, the Big 12, to go play in a SEC.
Be the coach for Kentucky.
Yeah, I guess. History, huh? Crazy.
You know what it'll be?
I don't know.
Interesting.
I just don't know about that. I would stay at Baylor. I just don't. I mean, I get you're a blue blood, but who cares? They stink.
Yeah, but it's Kentucky.
Yeah. So.
It's not how it works.
All right, my quick point. We're switching over quick. This is a quick
Yeah.
question. I had to ask this. Somebody else told me to ask this as well when in our friend group.
All right,
it's about women's college basketball.
Uh-huh.
Do you believe Caitlin Clark is the best women's college basketball player of all time? There was debates. People came out and said different things. Twitter exploded. There's a lot of talk. What is your opinion? There's nothing wrong here, Chris. I just want to know your opinion. Is she the greatest college basketball player? Women's of all time. The GOAT, some would say.
I'd have to do a little bit of research to take a look at some of the other noteworthy players.
Okay.
And like
compare.
Take a look at what they did.
Okay.
Because I don't know. I mean, even for men's college basketball, like I don't keep track of as much of like stats wise. Feel like
she obviously is like she has the majority of the stats.
Right, but like it's for instance, you look at somebody like Breanna Stewart who won 4 national championships, right?
Yeah.
What do her stats look like?
So
how far behind is she
compared
from
to Caitlin Clark?
Caitlin Clark, right?
So the question is, do national championships matter in making you the GOAT or not the GOAT? So like obviously Caitlin Clark
We're
unfortunately
talking
has zero.
the one greatest player.
Yep.
Of all time.
Yep. Because that was the debate, I guess you could say, if we're giving context. Like a lot of people came out and was like, "Oh, Caitlin Clark." Obviously, one notable guy was Jay Williams, who basically was like, "No, she has to win a national championship," and then everyone was like, "You're ridiculous. She's the best."
I don't think that you have to win a national championship to be the best player in college. I think that can be a part of the conversation.
Okay.
I think it's also very hard to like say this one person is the best college player of all time. You know, it's like you're going to be in a bunch of different conversations and half the people will say Michael Jordan's the best player of all time in the NBA, and some people will say that LeBron is.
Well, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. What do you think?
I would have to do more research of like the impact and stats combined. Those would be the two main things. I think she's definitely in the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
She's definitely top 2 or 3. Like I don't think. I mean, if somebody says that she's not, then that would just be ridiculous.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But I mean, I would have to look into it further. But she's definitely in the conversation. I mean, that's far.
I mean, she's in the discussion to be number 1.
Yeah, we're far past that.
Yeah,
just being in this discussion.
Yeah, I think if she would have won a national title, it would have solidified it because people take national titles into consideration.
Totally.
So
I mean that if you really think about it, that is one of the main drivers for Michael Jordan being the best NBA player.
Right, he has more NBA championships.
Because he had all the NBA championships.
Yep, 100%.
So,
interesting. All right.
To you?
I'm not trying to upset people. I mean, I think she's definitely in the discussion for one, but I do think, like you just said, national championships play a huge part. You have people. Granted, here's the hardest part. Mm-hmm. Iowa would not even be close to where they were, or even in the discussion for national championships. He brought the team to 2 national championships.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
You listen to the coach speak, and the coach was basically like, "Well, to be honest, we're just really happy to be here, and thank God we're here." And I think what most of us will see is next year we'll really see how much of an impact because they probably won't be very good. Right. I do think national championships, but I think it's so hard. Like you said, I would say she's probably in the discussion statistics-wise, but with the national championships, I mean, that's really more so like you look at the teams that Breanna Stewart was on. They probably had 3 or 4 WNBA players.
Totally.
So it's like the same thing with that UConn team when they had Diana Taurasi and all those people. It's like, it's hard. Mm-hmm. But I definitely think she's in the discussion. So, and she's definitely, I mean, if we're talking changed women's basketball, she's definitely changed it significantly for the positive. So I think we both agree on that.
Yeah, you can't say she has not.
Yeah, when you have 18 million people watching a game, that's crazy. Mm-hmm. So, all right, back to men's. Wrap it up.
Yep. Looking into next year.
We love this time of year because right after the championship, odds come out already for next year.
Yep.
Transfer portal hasn't even been completed. Nothing's been completed, but
why don't you run through a few of the notable transfers so far?
Yeah, I think the bigger ones, I would say John L. Davis, FAU. These are guys who have, well, I guess these two haven't committed. So you have John L. Davis, FAU, obviously a superstar player. Omar Ballo was kind of interesting to me when I saw him go in the portal. Like Arizona's Caleb Love's gone. Arizona's best player.
Maybe that's why he wants to leave, because he knows that they're not going to be that great.
Yeah, not going to be that great.
What if Tommy Lloyd goes to Kentucky?
Wow. That was also another name probably we didn't even think about.
Yeah.
So, potentially, I don't think it's bad. Yeah. You have AJ Storr. This says in Illinois, from Wisconsin to Illinois. Interesting. Potentially. It says 100%, but it hasn't been committed. And then Tucker DeFries. Shout out you, Brennan. Drizzy Boy going to West Virginia. How many players do you think at the end of the day will be in the transfer portal?
It's a lot. It's in the thousands.
Oh, no, 100%. Do you think we'll hit 2,000?
I mean, if you're not in the transfer portal at this point, then it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah. So, very interesting to see where those guys all end up. I mean, I get it. a lot of these guys probably just trying to get. Well, I mean, Tucker DeFreeze has to be what? Senior? Super senior?
He's got 1 year left,
1
I
year
believe.
left.
Well, his dad's the new coach of West Virginia.
No, I know. That's why that makes sense that he's following him. I mean,
Right.
So, obviously a very good player at Drake. So we'll see what happens. But I don't know. There's a lot of names. Poor Gophers.
Just run through some of them.
We got Kobe Johnson from USC.
Yeah, we want to know the guys that have already going somewhere.
So he's going UCLA. Kobe Johnson is. You have Zeke Mayo from South Dakota State, committed to Kansas.
Okay.
Michael Ajayi from your Pepperdine was going to Gonzaga.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have PJ Haggerty from Tulsa to Memphis. That's interconference, isn't it? Is Tulsa and Memphis in the same conference? I believe so, right?
In the American.
I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Vladislav Golden, the big boy from FAU, going to Michigan. Interesting to go to Michigan, who was literally dog water last year.
I don't think that's interesting at all.
For him?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Oh, they're awful.
That's where his coach went.
Yeah, but they're awful.
They play in the Big Ten,
I don't know.
and his coach went there. He's probably like, "Hey, come with to Michigan," and he said, "Okay."
Yeah, I guess. They're just
Why wouldn't he?
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. That's how it works.
Yeah. Michi Johnson, South Carolina to Ohio State. Who's Makai? Is he a high school kid?
It looks like Rice's logo.
Yeah, but this says number 1 high school ranked. From Rice to Washington. So, Sky Clark, UCLA. So that's pretty much the top 50. None of the other guys have
Where's
committed.
Sky Clark going?
Sky Clark is going to UCLA.
I didn't see that one coming. He doesn't seem like he's tough enough to play at UCLA.
Guess we'll wait and see. It's
Think
going to be a
he's
wake-up
soft.
call. So,
All right.
I mean, I don't think AJ Store's tough enough to play for Brad Underwood. So that will be a shock.
I think he will be. I think
Brad Underwood's a crazy. If he does what he did in the NCAA tournament, the effort he showed under Brad Underwood, he will not play.
I think he'll be fine.
I don't think he'll be great. Mark it right here. He will not be Big Ten first team. AJ Store will not.
What was he this year?
I believe he was second team.
Was he?
Yeah. I mean, he was literally. What did he say? Accolades? Accolades.
Just definitely not how you spell accolades.
Accolades. All Big Ten selection. Second team All Big
Second
Ten.
team.
Good for me.
Do you think he'll be second team?
I think he has a chance to be second team, but not first team.
Chance.
He has a
I think
chance.
he's for sure second team as long as he plays the majority of the year. I think he's for sure second team, if not first. If he does end up going to Illinois.
Yeah. It says he actually originally committed to Illinois
Oh my gosh!
before going to St. John's.
I mean,
That's crazy. So now he's going back home
mhm.
or back to the original. So we'll see.
Okay.
See what happens.
So looking into next year, rankings wise, I mean, you got Duke as the favorite. You got UConn up there.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to have Duke. Duke's got to have the
They have the
top.
number one
They have the
recruiting
number one
class.
recruiting class. Yeah, because Cooper
Correct.
Flag or whatever.
Yes, I believe they have number 2 as well.
So yeah, I think Duke's obviously got it. I mean, it will just be very interesting to see. Dan Hurley had three guys leaving. He has 3 guys leaving, so it'll be very interesting to see. I mean, he's obviously an elite coach, one of the best, like we talked about the whole episode. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. This has Gonzaga up there as well. Kansas.
Yeah, so Duke has 3 5-stars.
3.
Yes. Number 1, 7, and 18.
So Mark Mitchell entered the transfer portal as well.
That means nothing to me. He was not.
He's part of this
as good.
projected starting lineup.
He wasn't very good.
11.6 points per game.
He was a hustle guy.
Yeah.
He even scored 11.6 points per game.
So it says Mark Mitchell, 11.6.
That seems like it's more than what I had initially thought.
Yeah.
Huh.
Interesting. Yeah, UConn, it says right here, is number 4. This is what's crazy, is UConn, it says that there's a chance that all 5 starters are gone.
Correct.
So they're literally recycling and they're still projected 4th.
Yeah, but that's how you win back-to-back national championships. People want to go play for that.
Yeah, for 1 year or so. Yeah. See what happens. Dang. So would you put your money right now on Duke to win the national championship? This is way, this is what we call way too early projection. But
yeah, so you got Duke as the number 1 at plus 1,000, Kansas at plus 1,400, UNC at plus 1,400, UConn at plus 1,400, Houston at plus 1,600. It's hard because literally everything that we've said is like, oh, you can't build a team off of freshmen. You can't build a team off of freshmen. And that is going to be the main part of Duke's team, I feel like.
Yeah.
They're losing a lot of their guys that played this year to the NBA.
Right.
Jared McCain, Filipowski, Jeremy Roach, I would say, is probably going to be gone, right? He's got to be sophomore,
way
junior.
older. Yeah.
At that point, it's time to leave. So I mean, we just said, oh, you gotta get transfers. Well, they're building the majority of their team off of freshmen, which has not been as successful lately. So they better find 1 or 2 guys in the transfer portal that they can come in, or that they already have, that is going to be a factor, because otherwise, that they might struggle there.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about what Kansas is bringing back, or North Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, Kansas obviously having Zeke Mayo from South Dakota State is probably pretty big, but yeah,
maybe they'll get Omar Ballo.
They could use a big guy. No, who was your guy? Clemson boy.
Yeah,
PJ Hall.
If he doesn't go to the NBA, I cannot wait until that happens, and I'm going to call you and rub that in so far.
I mean, if that happens, you deserve to rub it in, but I don't think it's going to happen. So we'll see. Did he declare for the draft?
I don't know.
PJ Hall?
Yeah.
Is he an NBA?
Look that up.
Prospect?
I wouldn't think that he...
To be an early 2nd round pick.
Is he for sure going to the NBA?
Let's see.
How much eligibility does he have left?
I mean, he's got to have at least 1 year, right? Well, now can't you go and then come back?
Well, it just depends on if you have eligibility. Yeah, look at that. It's right at the top.
Has a 5th year of eligibility because he was a freshman during COVID.
Okay.
Will PJ Hall... He's projected an early 2nd round pick. That is crazy.
I think he should go to Kansas still. I'm just saying it. I'm saying it because I believe that's where he needs to go.
Do you think if they don't get him, Ballo could fall right into there?
I mean,
is the big guy from UConn going to the draft?
Yeah.
Okay.
Klingon? Yeah.
Yeah, Klingon.
Yes,
he's just so skinny.
Yeah, but he's got a 7'7" wingspan.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt. Can't teach size.
You cannot.
So, we'll see.
He fits into like the perfect big guy physique.
Oh yeah,
for the NBA.
Tall, lanky, can probably decent. I don't know. Is he a shooter though?
Can have a bunch of alley-oops, set good screens, be a rim protector.
Yeah.
Like that's literally what NBA teams want.
Yeah, that is true. That's crazy.
So
set good screens.
Yeah, he might have to work on that still, but
yeah, he's got to get a little bigger, but they can do that. They'll buff him up. So we'll see.
Who are you picking?
For what? I think Duke has to be the favorite. I think this Cooper Flagg kid is like the next coming. That's what they've been talking about.
He does look pretty good.
I mean, he's nasty. So, but like you said,
I can't wait till he has a little rude awakening, though.
Yeah, I think it's definitely. I mean, here's the reality: is like we talked about, like freshmen coming into college, like all these college players, especially in these big conferences, like they're all studs in high school. They were all studs, and so I
maybe
think
not the number one player in the country.
No, not the number one player, but I mean, there's only one of them. But
that's right.
But I think they're all, and they're
Good
just
call,
the
good call.
game. Yeah, thank you. The game is just different. Like he's playing high school kids, and he's just dominating.
Yeah, he looks way too big for a high school court.
Right. He looks like he should already be in college.
Yeah.
So it will be very interesting to see how he progresses. But like I said, it just will be interesting the maturity level of it. And I mean, obviously Duke's the favorite because of that, and they'll be fun to watch. But can he perform? We'll see. We will see.
You got anything else that's interesting to you?
Interesting? No, I don't have anything else.
Okay.
It's the word of the day.
Oh my god.
Word of the week. Interesting.
I mean, yeah, I don't have anything else either. So I guess we'll wrap it at that. The 2024
No, 2023-2024 college basketball season
is wrapped up. We'll
Peace.
talk to you guys next week.
I literally typed in, will PJ Hall come? And one of this is